Hi, everybody. It's Erin the Hiking Stitcher, and I'm coming to you today with a Frogwarts Retreat recap. So today is let me check it, July 21st, 2024. So if you are a new subscriber, welcome to my little corner of the internet where I talk about my cross stitching and my hiking adventures. If you are a returning subscriber, welcome back. I'm glad to see you. So today, now that it's been a week since the Frogwarts digital retreat from the Black Needle Society, I wanted to kind of recap how it went, kind of give some of my thoughts on how the weekend went, and show you what I had stitched. So for those of you who don't know what Frogwarts is a cross stitch retreat based on Harry Potter run by the Black Needle Society. And it started in 2020 during the height of the pandemic, where it was planned to be an in-person retreat, and then COVID, messed with that. So they pivoted to a digital retreat, and that first year we just kind of not really made things up as we went along, but tried to figure out how you could recreate a standard cross-stitching retreat experience into a digital world. So we did that, and they run Frogwarts kind of on a competition system. And so this is where the term competitive cross stitch was born for me. So each person is divided into one of the four houses of Harry Potter: Gryffindor, Ravenclaw, Hufflepuff, and Slytherin. Proud Slytherin. And then as the retreat grew, people were divided into smaller groups within those houses, just to have a team of, say, 7 to 9 stitchers. And you earn points for everything from finishing the retreat piece to the stitching challenges to the stash dives, the digital dives. There are pop-up point opportunities on the Facebook page and on the Facebook chat. And so several different ways that you can earn points. And then at the end of the retreat, there are a few big prizes. You can become your individual house MVP, which means you are the top point earner for Gryffindor, Ravenclaw, Hufflepuff, or Slytherin. Your house team, your team of 7 to 9 stitchers, can become the house champion, where everybody on that team, you are the house group that has earned the most points. And the final big prize to win is the essentially winning the whole thing, being the highest individual point earner of the whole weekend. And there are some amazing prizes attached to that. So there is a lot at stake with Frogwarts. And Frogwarts goes from a Wednesday evening through Sunday afternoon. And so each day there are many stitching challenges. So they give you a stitching prompt based on whichever Harry Potter book that they are focusing on this year. And you stitch on something that relates to the prompt. Usually it's the retreat piece, but not always. If you stitch on something related to the prompt, you can, for every 25 stitches you do, you earn a point. And then if you do not stitch on something that matches the prompt, then you earn 1 point for every 50 stitches. So for example, there was one prompt where it said to stitch on something with purple and black. So that meant that the colors purple and black had to be somewhere on the pattern. You could, as a color that you use. You didn't have to stitch with the color. So you could use a pattern that fit that and get 25 points, 1 point for 25 stitches. Or you could stitch on something else that you want to stitch and get 1 point for 50 stitches. And so you do that. There are stash dives, which is where the headmistresses, Katie and Laura, give you a list of 20 items based on a theme. And then you have 30 minutes to go through whatever it is they're asking for. So most of the time it's a motif on a cross stitch pattern, but sometimes it can be something that's on a project bag or a thread name or a fabric name. And one dive allows you to use anything within your space. So whichever space that you are in is fair game, and they give you a list of like 20 things. So it could be something like the word welcome. It could be something like find a project with a dog. And so you have to see how many, try to get as many as you can. You cannot use the same project for um, more than one item. So once you've used the project that says it fits this item, you cannot use that same project again to fit a different item. So that's that. Messes your your stitching space up a lot. You know, mine was pretty messy by the end. And then there's also a digital dive. So you get a list of about 15 items, 15, 20 items, and you have 20 minutes to scour the corners of the internet finding an item that matches the prompt on sale someplace. So 123 Stitch, Etsy, eBay, Amazon, something. You have to be able to prove that the item is on sale, that it's not just a picture of something that somebody bought on their blog page. So for example, you might get a list that includes like red fabric or a floss with the name Rose in it. So something along those lines, and there's different point levels. So the higher the point level, probably the more rare it's going to be, or the fewer of those you might find on the internet. And so you have 20 minutes to find and screenshot those. And then the last game that we play is Quidditch. And so Quidditch, you are on a team of about with about 4 or 5 other people, and you get again, you get a list of about 30 items. One is an unscramble, so like all the spells in Harry Potter scrambled up. So you have to unscramble it and then go find a picture with that spell in it. You get a list of like pattern motifs, a list of cross stitch supplies, something, but again, just like the other, sorry, train of thought, squirrel. So just like the other items, the other games, you got to find things like a pattern with the word something in it. You have to find a needle minder that has this on it. And so you go for about 15 minutes, and then after 15 minutes, you get what the snitch is. And just like in Quidditch with Harry Potter, as soon as a team finds the snitch, the game is over. And so the snitch is something where there is something very specific that Katie and Laura are looking for. And then you look for it, you find it online, you screenshot it, you send it to them, and they'll say, yes, you found the snitch, or no, keep looking. And so then the snitch gets your team like 150 points, I think, and it ends the game. So it's kind of like a digital dive on steroids. So throughout the weekend, we had all those activities, plus we had the Zoom rooms open, so that way you can sit there and chat with people literally from all over the world. I mean, I chatted with people from England. I chatted with people from Australia. Chatted with people from all across the United States, from Canada. And these people, a lot of them I have known since the first Frogwarts, or people have been there for a while. I mean, and you just sit there, and it's a wonderful community of supporting each other, even in the midst of this competition. Although, as I will talk later, sometimes competition can bring out the not so niceness of people. So that is something to think about before you decide if you want to dive headfirst into Frogwarts. So let me just kind of go over a little bit of what I did during Frogwarts, and then show you what I finished, because you get prizes for finishing. Plus, I just finished stuff. I'll show you what I worked on, and then I'll give you some of my final thoughts. And wait to the end, because I know some people were wondering, hey, Erin, didn't you say that you were going to try to win the whole thing? I'll let you know how that turned out. So Wednesday night, we opened with a Facebook Live and just kind of chatted like the beginning of term announcements. Hey, these are the rules. This is what you need to know. And then we had our first round of Quidditch at 8:15 that night, and then 2 stitching challenges. So it's kind of like a little jump in precursor. First round of Quidditch always went a little difficult because it's like your brain forgot how to do things in the last year. And so I didn't go to bed till 1 o'clock in the morning, because what I learned this year as opposed to last year, it's easier for me to just stay up and do the final challenge, because one of the things that they build into the schedule are 3 time turners. So starting with year 3, the year that the time turner was introduced into Harry Potter, and they've kept it going. So So at 3 times that for me are the middle of the night, but for other people around the world are not the middle of the night, you can use the time turner to make up one stitching challenge from the previous 24 hours. So that kind of helps a little bit if you're, say, in Australia and you're trying to keep up with everything, but you also want to get some sleep. You might take a nap and sleep through a couple stitching challenges, knowing that later on, at a better time for you, you can make up those 2 stitching challenges. So last year, I went to bed about 11:30 midnight, and said I'll just so I would go to bed and then I'd get up at about 6:30 to do a time turner at 7 a.m. my time here in Virginia, Eastern Standard Time. And so that gave me about 6, 7 hours of sleep. But then I realized if I stayed up and just did the midnight stitching challenge, so for me, so it ended at 1 o'clock in the morning, and then I went to bed. The next stitching challenge for the next day would not be until 10 o'clock in the morning, my time. So that actually allowed me to get 8.5 hours of sleep. So I could go to bed at, say, 1:30 in the morning, get up at 9:30, and be ready to go the next day. So I actually got more sleep this year than I have in previous years. But then starting on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, you had a full day of activities between 10 a.m. and 1 a.m. the next day. So I did a stitching challenge. We did our first stash dive. And at the beginning, my friend Emily, who's a Ravenclaw, she came over and we got to hang out and stitch in person. She lives not maybe 30 minutes away, but it seems that the only time we ever get together to stitch is during Frogwarts. But it just, again, it seemed like my brain just died during that first dash dive. It's like I saw the list and my brain went, ugh. So I didn't do as well as I wanted to, but it was good to just kind of get that first thing out of the way, because it's like I forgot how I set up for this. I forgot, my strategy. I was just tearing through stuff and it was a mess. And so and then we had another stitching challenge, and then the next stash dive. So we did 2 stash dives a day on Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And so the second stash dive, I feel like I had a little bit more calmness. I took the list and I literally just said, okay, I'm going through this pile first, then this pile, then this pile. And instead of like going, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, I just went systematically through each pile and ended up with about 16, I think, out of the 20 items, which turns out later on, I won the stash dive because I had the most items that matched the prompt. So I usually win a stash dive just because I have so much stuff. So that really was not a surprise. I was pleased. I went, thank you. Okay, good. And so then we had another stitching challenge, and then at 6:15 was our digital dive. And again, my brain just shut off, and I went, I thought I did good getting 30 points, and I'm finding people are getting 130 and 150 and 180 and crazy things like that. So I'm like, well, I suck. So I went through, finished out the evening, played Quidditch. About Quidditch. So this was the funny thing. Thursday night Quidditch, they released the snitch, and the snitch was something that said a snitch needle minder. So all of us are thinking, oh, they want a needle minder, a little magnet that we can hold our needles on. They want one that looks like the snitch from Harry Potter. So we're all looking and finding stuff and sending it off to the headmistresses, and they're like, nope, nope, nope. So I stumble upon one that says snitches get stitches, and I just started laughing. And I went, there's no way. No way that this is what it is. So I showed my team, and my team, we all started laughing, like, wait, what the heck? We'll just send it to them because we figure we'd get a laugh, and then they'd kick it back to us and say no. So imagine my surprise when we sent off the picture of the needle minder I found, and they said, that's it. You found the snitch. Holy crap. So that was a big surprise. Like, I was not expecting that to be the snitch, but it was. So that just was insanely hilarious. And so I didn't care how much it cost. I actually went out and ordered it, and it's supposed to be here this week. Hoping to have it for my recap video, but I didn't. So then Friday followed a similar pattern. With the exception of this time on the digital dive, I stayed in the chat rooms with a bunch of other stitchers, and I said, okay, guys, how did you do it? How did you get, the 100 and some odd thousand points? So they kind of talked me through their strategy, their process a little bit. And so I did much better on the second digital dive. Turns out I won that one. I went, okay, that was something I was not expecting at all. But a lot of people had some of their things not count on that last one. It's a little tricky because if there's an item on the list that's in quotation marks, that exact word or phrase has to be on there. And so one of the items for what I like to call the bonus list. So they give you like a bonus list that I never touched before. And if you can find all the items on this list, you earn like 80 points right off the bat. But you have to find all the items on that list or you don't get any points. So one item on the bonus list had a word in quotations that none of us noticed at first. So it's something like flamingo. So we were finding like fabric with a flamingo on it. We're like, oh, this is like stupidly easy. You know, here's pink. Here's a flamingo. And it wasn't until it was almost over that I went, hey guys, flamingo is in quotations. So we were searching, and I don't remember who found it, but somebody said, if you go to this website and type in birds, you'll get a piece of fabric that literally has the word flamingo on it someplace. So yay, we went and saw that and added that. So I got that in under the wire. But so somehow I guess that's how I won, because a lot of people thought they had the bonus list, and because they didn't have the word flamingo, it didn't count. So that was another shocker to me. So I'd already had the shocker of finding the stitch the night before, and then the shocker of winning the digital dive the day after. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. And so, and again, kept stitching. Saturday, followed a lot of the same pattern, just stitching at this point. My brain's starting to get a little tired. But I'd said, I'm going to make this year about like, let me see, just personal goal. How many points can I get? How much can I do before I just completely crash and burn? Saturday, that's where some of the negativity started coming out. I think we're all tired, running on weird sleep. I mean, my sleep schedule was kind of weird, but I was only an hour off of Central Time, which is where the retreat is based. But you had some people literally in Australia who were trying to do things in real time with all of us. And so, like, for me, it's like it's noon as we're having these conversations. And so for my friends in Australia, it's like 2 a.m. for them, trying to keep a coherent conversation, trying to stitch. My props to all of you who from Australia who do Frogwarts. I know of at least 3 or 4 of you guys who participate at various levels. Mad props to you guys, because I was struggling on my own. I can't imagine struggling with that 14-hour time difference, but y'all rocked it out like champs. And so that was Saturday. So at this point, Thursday, Friday, Saturday followed the same pattern. Sunday was the marathon day. Sunday, your first challenge is at 9 o'clock, and you have a challenge on the hour every hour. So 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, back to back. And then at 3 o'clock, you get a little break because it's a stash dive, and then you have another challenge at 4 o'clock, and then all of your points opportunities. So any pictures, any finishes, anything else had to be in by 5:30 Eastern time. And that's when you can just like collapse. And then at 7 o'clock, they had the final end of term stuff where everybody found out their prizes and things like that. So it was a busy weekend. It was crazy. By Sunday, I was like, I don't think I can stitch another stitch. Like I challenged myself, and I think for most of the stitching challenges, I was pulling down 250 to 350 stitches an hour, which is insane just to even say that. But I was pulling down about 10 to 14 points per challenge. And that is usually not how fast I stitch. But again, Frogwarts is just a completely different mindset. It's a great way to challenge yourself. And so like you say, okay, I'm going to set a goal to do this. I'm going to set a goal to do this. How many stitches in an hour can I get? Do I have all these things for a stash dive? Some of the later stitching challenges is like going, okay, it is now 1 o'clock in the morning and I'm still trying to stitch 200 stitches an hour. I'm insane. So, So let me show you some of the things I stitched. So the first thing that probably the most important is the retreat piece. I mentioned this, I think, in my last update, maybe. Um, so 2 weeks before the end of retreat, so I believe on the last Sunday in June, all the Frogwarts participants got a copy of the pattern and kind of a password and said, okay, if you want to earn 100 house points, um, you need to have the entire pattern finished by the end of the retreat. So I used this. Sorry, I was just adjusting there. Huh? Foo you. Um, so I was using this, and so I stitched probably a good 1,000 stitches plus a day leading up to the retreat, and I was about 75% of the way complete by the time retreat started. And so I'd saved a lot of the fill in. So that's another tip if you're trying to finish the project during Frogwarts, is do the little motifs first and then save the big stuff for fill in. So like during the challenges or when your eyes are like cross-eyed, you can just like, I just need to fill in this box. So here is the Frogwarts Year 5 piece. Move it here a little bit. Get a good look at it. Um, I did not make any major changes other than over here. I did change the prefect badge to match Slytherin colors because I am a proud Slytherin. Um, I did mess up a lot over here on Grop. There he is. So I had to do some interesting counting. So you might notice he looks like he's got quite the buff bicep there that's holding the bicycle handle because I ended up a few stitches over and up from where I needed to be. And then I did add some étoile to make things a little bit sparkly. But you have over here, you've got Grimald's Place. You have the candy wrapper that Neville's mom had. You have the extendable ears. You got Luna's earrings. You have the Weasley twins throwing their fireworks off. You have the quill that Umbridge uses to make Harry do lines. You have the prefect badge. You have the ministry memos. You have, oh my gosh, I'm blanking out. That's not a centaur. No, my gosh, I'm completely blanking out. And it'll come to me. Why am I blanking out? I don't know. Underneath. So anyhow, while I think about that one, there's this. Then you've got the swamp underneath, and then you have Neville holding his plant, and then you have Nagini the snake. You have the decrees, the educational decrees coming down from the Ministry of Magic. You have Grop holding a bicycle handle. You've got the weird brain that almost strangled Ron. You have the veil that unfortunately, spoiler alert, killed Sirius at the end of the book. You have Luna's shoes, which we actually started calling them bacon shoes. And now that I call them that, I cannot unsee it. They look like 2 strips of bacon. But they are Luna's shoes. And then the broken prophecy, and then the veil. Or then the mirror. And then the quote at the end. Thestral. That's what that is. Sorry. This thing right here. Wrong way. This is a thestral. See, I knew I would think of it. Thestrals are those things that only people who have seen someone die can see. Otherwise, you cannot see them. So Harry was able to see the thestrals in year 5. So this is the year 5 pattern. I finished it at the very end because, of course, the very, very final challenge was stitch on something with a veil. And this is the only thing I had with a veil. I didn't have a single other thing. I'm like, all right. So I got this finished Sunday afternoon, and I'm really, really happy with how it turned out. And so this is going to go with all of my others that I have stitched. And I'm going to hold off on framing them until I have all 7 years done because I want them to have matching frames. And I can't guarantee that my framer is going to have the same frames from year to year. So this is going to go away with my other ones. And then it'll get put into a frame at the end of year 7. So that was my biggest finish. I did have 2 other finishes throughout the weekend. So the first finish was Winter in Stars Hollow from the Black Needle Society. So there it is. I finished that all up. It just really had to finish up the purple background and the house. So now I have all 4 seasons in Stars Hollow done. So there's winter. Move over here and see we got fall. There you go. And then we get summer and spring. So this whole Seasons in Stars Hollow is now complete. And that makes me super happy and super sad because I loved every single stitch on this. Um, but I can't wait now that I've shown you. Probably in the next week or two, this is going off to the framers. And so the next time you see this will be me showing off the completed framing. So I got Winter and Stars Hollow done, so I got points for that finish. And then the last one I had to finish, actually I had my first ever start and finish. Um, so to me that means you start and finish a piece within 24 hours. So one of the challenges was stitch on something from a magazine. So book or a magazine. So I was flipping through and I actually had a copy of the 2024 Nashville Needlework Market Cookbook. And I saw this pattern by Michelle Bendy. And I was like, I have to. So I stitched it up and it did not take me very, very long at all. So meet Taco Cat. I thought he was just absolutely adorable. This took me maybe 4 hours. Probably would have been less if this had been the only thing I was stitching on. So I stitched on this for the challenge, and then I got the points for a finish as well. So I think he is absolutely adorable. Have no idea what I'm going to do with him yet, but I just can't help but look at his cute face. And then some of the other projects I stitched on. I wanted to get some progress on my other Frogwarts piece. So I don't know. I know I mentioned this the last big floss tube, not my unboxing, but the one before. But Rachel Ray, who does some cool things with floss tube and Instagram, she was in my house for Frogwarts a couple years ago, and then last year or so, she decided that she no longer wished to do Frogwarts. And so she was selling her pattern that she'd started with all of the pieces on one piece of fabric. I'm stitching each year on a separate piece, but I was really, really intrigued with how the full set would look. And I'm also stitching my individuals with the DMC conversion, and she had been doing the original overdyed fancy floss called for. So I jumped on that, and I said, it's a shame to have her hard work just go to waste and hide in a drawer. So I said, look, let me take it. I'll finish it up. And so she had year 3 done. So let me show you her year 3 first. Try to see if I can do how to do this here a little bit. So that was her year 3 that she had complete. So that was all her. So she did year 3 with us, and so she'd finished it and then had made starts on the other. So pretty much I got used to working on these, the bands. These made for some fast stitching during different challenges, and I didn't really have to think about it too much. I just, you just follow the pattern and just go across. So, so I got some of the band done on year 1. There's really nothing else done on year 1 except for part of the quote. So I got a lot of the year 1 band done. I'm showing you. Here's here's the progress on year 2. Most of this is all what Rachel had. The only thing I had to do was I had to rip out what she had started in the band because she was using a different color green than what I had. So I had to rip out her green and finish and use mine. So everything that you see above the band was her, and everything below and the band was me. I think I might have done a little bit of the snake. And then there's her year 3. And then because she had decided not to do Frogwarts after year 3, she had not started year 4 at all. So I got year 4 started. Not much, but I got the maze, the bottom of the boot, and I started the band. So I'm stitching my way down so that way when I feel like I have a fresh head for year 5, I can start year 5. But I need to take a break from Frogwarts for a bit as far as the stitching stuff goes. Just because I spent the last 2 or 3 weeks just headfirst into it. And so I just need to take a break. But I was really proud that I got a lot of work done on that. And so I'm going to save my Frogwarts pieces, again, to keep working on during Frogwarts Retreat, because that makes sense. I also started a couple patterns. One was Stitch on a Project with a Curse Word. And so I got this far into it. So it'll eventually say fuck around and find out. But I got the and find out part done. I got the and above and the outline of it done um, the other day just because I wanted to finish off the threads that I'd left hanging. Because that's another thing is during a stitching challenge, I don't cut threads. You just switch needles and go. So when I had some thread hanging and some threads just left over, I said, let me just get these in and call it good. So that one is hilarious, and that's going to go into just my normal rotation of I need to find something to stitch on. I'll stitch on this one. And then the last one was toss a coin to your stitcher. And thank you to those of you who reached out and told me about the show on Netflix. And so I will kind of maybe take a look at that. Because one of the prompts for Frogwarts was stitch on something with a coin. So that's as far as I got. Toss a coin to your stitch. And I joke that maybe eventually I'll have this one finished off. And then I'll just sit on some random street corner someplace cross-stitching with that open and just see if anybody actually gives me money. You never know. So yeah, and then so I did stitch on a few other things, but those are things that I would normally have in my rotation to stitch anyway. So I will show you the progress on those in my July recap video when I go over just my general July stitching. So sticking this one away. This one will be back out for my next video. So, so that was really what Frogwarts was. So kind of some tips and tricks, I guess you could say, is the next thing. So I guess this is the time now to kind of tell you that yes, I did it. I won Frogwarts. I busted my butt. I stitched every challenge. I tried not to do penalty stitches until the last day because I wanted to get the year 5 pattern done. So at the end of the day, I am going to get a prize pack for winning a stash dive, for winning a digital dive, for being on the winning Quidditch team, and for winning the whole dang thing. So when I get all those things, that haul video is going to be insane. There might be some giveaways involved. Who knows? But then the next day, kind of it's sinking. It's like, yes. So here's some positive takeaways. I've been doing Frogwarts now this is my 5th year. And the first year that I've made a good faith effort to win it, and I did it. And so winning, I'm going, okay. So the positive, I got to hang out with an amazing group of friends. I have some friends that the only time I really get to hang out with them is Frogwarts. And so I'm not going to name names because I don't want to forget anybody. But if you've been in a stitching room with me, you're on that list. And so you make friends, you encourage each other. When you're sitting there, this was the first year I stayed on the Zoom calls during like the stash dives and the digital dives. And it was interesting. Like nobody was like saying, here, let me just give you all this stuff to get points for you. No. That's not how it worked. But when like my brain was completely dead and I'm looking at this list and somebody's like, hey, do you have this pattern? And my brain, oh my gosh, yeah, yes, I do. So it was nice to be able to just have some other people encouraging you and helping you see things in a way that you might not normally do it, because from the size of my stash, I can't always see the forest for the trees. And so somebody else might be like, that like this pattern will fit this prompt. And like, I'm like, I didn't even think about that one. So that was like super helpful to have just people helping there. And same thing with the digital dives, just being able to say, hey guys, yes, you can find this fabric, but you might, this is what you need to type in the search bar and see what comes up. That kind of thing. So the camaraderie and the encouragement, like honestly, I could not have won Frogwarts by myself. Because like those late nights staying up when I was ready to just fall asleep, it was great to be in a Zoom room with other stitchers who we're all going through the same thing. and we celebrated each other's accomplishments. So it didn't matter if you got 300 stitches in an hour or you finished something, you only got 100 stitches in an hour. Um, we were all working and all encouraging each other. And so, like, when one of us starts yawning, we're like, no, 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 you still got time. Stay awake. Um, Trying to help, especially my Aussie friends, stay awake because when they're trying to do stitching challenges at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning for them, um, like, I know that if they didn't stay in the Zoom rooms or something, they probably would just pass out and fallen asleep. And I know if I hadn't done that, I would have done the same. So that was huge. Um, so that more than anything else. So the friendships that I made this over Frogwarts, the friendships that were strengthened for Frogwarts, that means more to me than any prize pack that I will ever get. And so that I just want to say that if I talk to you during Frogwarts, thank you. You know, I heart you. Um, because it did the biggest thing. Oh, look, hearts. Um, because the biggest thing for Frogwarts, especially if you are trying to win, you really can't do this alone. You need to be able to build each other up. You need to encourage each other. You need to drink. So the whole every time we said Katie Landis, take a drink, because the drinking and the food, like, if you need to eat, you need to fuel. Your body still needs to fuel. Your brain is going 100 miles a minute trying, with different things. But with that being said, this was the first year that I noticed some things about myself and about just how competition can not really bring out the worst in people, but can make an amazing experience not so amazing at times. So there was some, I don't want to go into all of it because it's not my business to tell. But there was, so usually they have a award called the Luna Lovegood Award. And that is something that stitchers, like, everybody nominates somebody who's been helpful, who's kind of exemplified the qualities that Luna Lovegood has. And so you nominate them, and then you get a list of the nominees, and you vote, and the winner gets gets prizes. But the one thing I've noticed is that the moment you put physical prizes with anything, it can change the whole dynamic of everything. And I guess in the last year or so, there had been some undercurrents that I never noticed, especially with the Luna Lovegood Award. But this year, there were some issues that kind of burst out into the open involving a couple friends of mine, that it made it, the headmistresses made the decision to scrap the award mid-retreat. And that I would say that kind of bothered me, not just because 2 or 3 of my friends I knew were nominated, but it just made me realize how much, like, kind of the competition piece, and I really don't know how to put it other than it took away from the spirit of Frogwarts to me. And so I witnessed some other things. There were rumors that some stitchers, none that I had seen, but some words had reached my ears that there were some stitchers who were being bullied and put down by their teammates because they were not stitching as fast as other people. They weren't participating as much. Whatever it is, their team was kind of putting them down for, maybe they were the reason they didn't win the House Cup or something. I don't know. But then I also heard comments like, maybe next year I won't do this because I don't stitch as fast as you do, Erin. Or like, I'm not able to participate in everything, so why even bother trying? And to me, that really, really bothered me, because at the end of the day, competitive cross-stitching or not, a retreat is supposed to be about relaxing, hanging out with your friends. And, looking back on it, I was not relaxed. I was go, go, go the moment. I was kind of hyped up to here with the adrenaline. And because I was so focused on, hey, I want to try to win this thing. That was my goal. Yes, I met my goal, but at what cost is kind of looking at it. Um, so I honestly don't think I'm going to compete in Frogwarts again. I will still participate, but I think there was a lot of things that by competing, the way I approached tasks changed, the way I interacted with my family changed over the weekend, the way I interacted with my friends here changed. Um, and I didn't always like the person I had become. I didn't always like hearing stories of people bullying each other instead of encouraging each other. I didn't like how people took something that was probably an inside joke amongst people and blowing it up because, oh my gosh, they weren't the ones that part of the inside joke. I don't know. But there was just a lot of things. So like, cause for me, my husband was amazing. He made sure I had food. I had something to drink. He took care of a lot of stuff. So I literally could sit in this chair and stitch. But at the same time, he did not interact with me at all. Like, so he just, every time he looked up, he just saw me going like this all the time, all the time. Friday night, I had friends come over to the house. Some of my best friends came over. I think I saw them for 20 minutes in between challenges. And they came over and were hanging out because one of them was really having a bad day and needed her friends. And what did I do? I sat up here and stitched. Some other of my hiking friends finished up their Shenandoah 500 challenge, which is an amazing accomplishment. Hiking every mile of trail in a national park is a huge thing. And so there was a big party and a big barbecue, and I missed it because I wanted to win Frogwarts. And even just saying those words out loud makes me realize, wow, just the priorities I had. Because for me, I was like, I want to win this thing. I want to try this. Competition is good. Challenging yourself is really good. I really pushed myself beyond what I thought I was able to do. But at the end of the day, those are just two examples of things that I'm never going to get back because I made the choice to focus so deep into Frogwarts that I missed it and I won't get that back. So like just some of my thoughts kind of for future Frogwarts. So if you're watching this thinking, you want to do it, please. Frogwarts is an amazing, amazing time. It is nothing else like it. It is intense, but it is only as intense as you choose to make it. The environment is set up in some ways where, especially if you know that there are physical, tangible prizes. We're not just talking little things. We're talking charts and floss and like a lot of really, really, really cool things by a lot of amazing designers and makers. So the moment that there's a physical prize attached to anything instead of just bragging rights, fake points, whatever, the whole dynamic changes. And then you feel a lot of FOMO if you can't keep up. And so, like to me, I realized that all the prizes I'm going to get, I'm getting a lot of really cool stuff. I know I said that before. I'll show you guys when I get it. None of it is worth your mental health, your physical health, your relationships with your friends, your relationships with your family. Because at the end of the day, those physical prizes, everything will one day end up in a landfill. Everything will one day end up at Goodwill. That's the reality of just all of our possessions. And so just realizing why you're doing it. I was not doing it to win the physical prizes. I was in it because I just wanted the challenge and the honor of like, can I do this? And I did, and now I'm going to get a lot of stuff, but I'm not going to get the time back with my best friends here. I did get some amazing time with my friends at Frogwarts, which is why, it's a good win-win. But then just talking with some other stitchers who, again, the ones that were kind of saying, man, I don't stitch as fast. I'm never going to win a prize, so why even bother trying? That kind of stuff. There was even one stitcher on my team who she was trying so hard to keep up because, my team, we were pretty competitive but encouraging of each other. And we were kind of in a 3-way horse race with 2 other teams for the House Cup, for the team award. And we ended up losing it, not by a whole lot. And instead of like saying, hey guys, we did great, my one friend was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry that I took the day afternoon off because I needed a nap. I'm so sorry I had to go spend time with my family. And she felt like horrible for letting the team down because we didn't win. And I was like, no, 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 no. You are amazing. You took the time. If you need a nap, take a nap. If you need to go eat, go eat. And so that's where I just noticed it not being as much of a positive environment. And maybe it's been that way for a while. And this was the first year I just really saw it. So the idea is like using Frogwarts to create an environment where you challenge yourself. You kind of say, hey, can I really, stitch 300 stitches an hour, 100 stitches an hour? Can I finish an entire piece with 15,000 stitches in 2 weeks? And then just challenge yourself. But then celebrating the accomplishment and meeting that goal is amazing, and that's what happens at Frogwarts. But then I saw a couple other stitchers that literally busted their butt and did not finish the retreat piece by about 2,000 stitches. And instead of celebrating their accomplishments, they felt like they were a failure. And that's not right. That's not cool. Even though that may have been more stitches than that person has ever put in before. So I think just kind of going forward for me, I want to make sure that I create an environment where Frogwarts will help me meet some goals. Maybe I want to finish a piece or stitch something, but I also don't want to do it at the expense of my mental health, at the expense of other people's mental health or physical health. If you're tired, sleep. If you're hungry, eat. If you feel like this is all getting too much, take a break. Because bullying and backstabbing and putting other people down and joking, that, hey, that person doesn't deserve the points, that's not okay. So those are my post Frogwarts thoughts. At the end of the day, it's cross stitching is supposed to be fun. Retreats are supposed to be fun and relaxing. And so a lot of it is what you make of it. I went and I tried to do everything. And I made my goals. I met all of my goals. But it doesn't mean that I'm 100% happy about it, because it did take me a while. I did not sleep Sunday night. I did not stitch the next day. I was spent physically, emotionally, mentally. I have some friends who did Frogwarts, and then they're like, I don't know if I can do this again. And just because of the intensity, both of the physical challenge of trying to do all this, the mental thing of, people getting all wrapped up in winning and points and, oh my gosh, I didn't get the points I thought I got. So just, if you're going to do Frogwarts, go into it with your own goals and understand that, focusing on here will take away your focus from someplace else. And you have to decide for yourself, set your own boundaries, what you're willing to accept. And you also have to respect other people's boundaries so that, if they don't stitch as fast, or they choose not to participate in a challenge, or choose to do other things during the weekend instead of spending 100% of their time on Frogwarts, you have to, respect that and call it good. So anyhow, so that long rant. I'm sorry. But the really thing at the end of the day, I'm just trying to say is stitch your own stitch. Do what works for you and enjoy. So long story short, Frogwarts, amazing. But at the end of the day, it's not always the most important thing in the world. So coming up, I'm going to probably be recording a video here in the next week or two with my July stitching recap, and I'll talk about that and some of the cool hikes I've done. I'm going off to Camp Black Needle in a couple weeks, so I will have a nice recap video from that, and that's actually where I'm picking up all of my Frogwarts haul. So I will have a nice big haul video in a couple weeks. And somebody challenged me to actually put up the my audition video that my friend and I made in the back of her car as a joke that kind of led me to being a YouTuber now. So I may put that video up sometime this week or next, just so you can all laugh. And anyhow, until we meet again, please, if you like what you see, please like, subscribe, hit that notification button, and comment back with some of your thoughts. If you've done Frogwarts before, let me know what you think. You can tell me I'm crazy. I can take it. Um, and then we'll go from there. All right, so everybody, I hope you have a great week and continue to stitch your own stitch. Have a great day.